I finished my 214th and final Wainwright way back in 1984, and although I've done a few of the Outlying Fells, I've never finished them. Now, some 40 years later, I've got this crazy idea of trying to finish the Outlying Fells. After all, Wainwright says they are for pensioners. I've no idea whether I'll be able to do this, but I won't know until I give it a go. So I've done 3 so far on this trip out of the 83 I had to do, and we're doing another one today. I'm going up Whit Fell, which is from the Fell Road, exactly as it's shown in the Outlying Fells, and that gives me 4 summits: Whit Fell itself, Buckbarrow, Moor and Kinmont Buckbarrow. Doesn't seem to be too difficult to walk. And I think the knobbly one on the right is Buckbarrow, and then Kinmont Buckbarrow over to the left, and Whit Fell and Moor are obviously behind. So we're making a start up a fairly gentle slope. The Met Office today reckoned 10-mile-an-hour winds at this level, but I think they've got that wrong somehow. There's a divergence of tracks up ahead, so we'll take the one on the left, which goes up to Buckbarrow. I think Buckbarrow on the right. I think the crag just to the left of that is called Great Paddy Crag. Well, we haven't gone far, and the car's almost out of sight now, and I think behind, over there in the clouds, I think that's White Combe leading onto Black Combe, and the little peak there to the right of where the car's parked, I think it's called Stoneside Pike. Alright, let's see if we can spot Buckbarrow just over this little rise. Well, we've got some rocks, and looks like Buckbarrow just behind them. There's Great Paddy Crag up ahead, and our path turns off to the right here, a little less distinct as we head up to Buckbarrow. You can see the path all the way though. Looks an interesting little climb. I do like these ones that have a nice rocky scramble at the end, just as you get off the moor. I mean, the walking so far has been dead easy. Now, I believe that Wainwright says scramble up from the right hand side there, but it looks to me as if you if I carry on a little bit and then turn right to that little col you can see between the 2 rocks, looks to be an easier way, so we'll try that. Well, there's definitely a path up to this little col, and I'm not sure which is the summit. I'm assuming it's this one over here. Looks a little bit higher, but not a lot, but irrespective, we'll probably come back over that one anyway. And that's the final, what, 10 feet or so. And we've come to the right hand side of the 2 points that you see on the way up, but as I look over there, I can see that this is not actually the summit. There's a cairn over there, so we'll head back to that one. Well, I should have known that first little outcrop wasn't the correct summit, because it's a much steeper climb up to this one, and Wainwright does say it's got a rocky climb. This time we really are on the summit of Buckbarrow. Well, that's the first summit of the day, which is Buckbarrow. It's a really easy walk up here, and if you just want to stretch your legs from the car, it's a good walk if you don't want to carry on over to Whit Fell. Now, normally I'd like to try and give you a 360-degree panorama from each of the summits, but It's really windy today, so it's not going to be possible to get the drone up. The Met Office reckons about 10 mile an hour wind at this, well, even higher than this, but it's probably 30 to 40 miles an hour up here. I'm found a little sheltered spot at the moment. Short rest here, and then we'll carry on to Whit Fell, which I believe is over there, just with the cairn on, and then we come back across Moor there, and around that side, just behind the rocks, is Kinmont Buckbarrow. Just a short descent from Buckbarrow, and it's not easy to make out the path here, although there is a path actually shown on the map. Definitely in this direction though, with Whit Fell up ahead. In fact, the path becomes quite clear after a while, as it heads downhill at first, and then a gentle climb uphill until it contours around Moor. Not sure if you can make out the track, but it's quite noticeable from here. Looks like it goes up to the little col between Moor and Whit Fell. In fact, Whit Fell looks a lot more interesting than it did from the top of Buckbarrow. The path straight ahead there goes up to Moor, and we just fork off right here. Whit Fell over there, and we come from Buckbarrow up there, not very long. And our last fill of the walk is Kinmont Buckbarrow. So I'm going to go past, which is over there somewhere. It's been fairly gentle up to this point, but it looks a bit steeper getting up to Whit Fell itself, although not too bad. A decent view, and if you can hear me above the wind, we've come from over there. This bit has been a very easy walk. When this cairn comes into sight, you begin to wonder if it's the actual summit, but I have a suspicion that it's not. Well, my suspicions are unfounded. This is indeed the summit of Whit Fell, and that's our highest objective on this walk. Obviously somebody had this as a favourite fell. And as luck would have it, there's a bit of a wind shelter, although unfortunately the wind's blowing the wrong way. Let's see if we can get out of the wind somewhere. Well, this is Whit Fell, summit of Whit Fell. It's a very pleasant walk, about 2 miles in, and surprisingly gentle gradient all the way. Lovely big cairn on the summit, which is a nice objective. Trig point, I don't know whether you can see it, but it's over there somewhere. And some decent views, although unfortunately it's rather overcast today, so can't see as much as we would expect to see. Best views in that direction, but they really are overcast. This is a round walk following the Wainwright's Outlying Fells guide, and we head back right over that way, over Moor, which looks a fair distance but probably isn't, and then over on the right hand side of those two fells there, which is Kinmont Buckbarrow, and then back down to the Fell Road. Overall, quite a decent walk, and of course absolutely nobody here. So it's Burn Moor next, down and then up a very faint path over on the right. I don't think there's going to be much to see on the way, so I'll show you again the summit of Burn Moor when we get there. Well, there's quite a well-defined path up here, but it doesn't look as if it actually goes to the summit. I believe the summit is over here, and that's not what my map says anyway. So I think it's just a matter of trogging across the grass now and finding the summit. Nice little rock formation. I've no idea what that would have been. And Burn Moor does have indeed a tiny little cairn. Now, is that the summit? I don't think so. There seems to be somewhere over there. I think it's fair to say that that's the summit of Burn Moor. Another fill done. No real reason to linger though, because the view here is not that brilliant. We have to head on now to Kinmont Buckbarrow, which is the one on the right over there. Looks a fair way, but it was quite gentle on the way down here, so should be the same on the way back. I think our route goes up the coal between Kinmont Buckbarrow on the right and Buckbarrow on the left. And the sun is finally coming out as promised, although it's also started raining. Well, my commute map shows this as an off-grid segment, but you can just about make out a faint path, although it is rather boggy in places. If you wanted to miss out Kinmont Buckbarrow up there, although I don't see why you would, Buckbarrow is there and you can go back the way we came. And then behind me, Burn Moor, which looks a lot higher than it seems we've descended, and Whit Fell. The faint path has got a little fainter, but it looks like we've got to head through this gap in the wall. Well, there is a gate here, but I don't think it's been used for quite some time. Well, I followed this wall up so far because that looks to be the driest way, and there is a very faint path. But I think now, look at our objective. Unless there's a path directly up through the rocks there, I think the secret here is to contour right and just come up the back of it, and then we'll go down the front on the way back to the car. Well, as Hayes Outdoors would shout out, medic, but that's his phrase. I'm not going to nick that off of him. Check out some of his crazy videos if you like. Now that we've got closer, I'm not sure the contouring around the back is going to be any less steep, because it doesn't seem too bad just to go straight ahead there. You go that way, I'll go around the back, and then we can see which way is the best. Nice little rocky outcrop there, but don't believe that's the summit, because the summit's over here. Well, that's a grand summit camp for such a small fell. Lovely. Now to find the side without the wind. Right, Kinmont Buckbarrow, fourth Wainwright of the day on this great walk. Even windier than normal, so I don't know if you can hear me. Down to the fence now and then back to the car. I'm not going to stay on the summit too long because it's blowing like the clappers. I'll tell you a bit more when I get back down to the Fell Road. From Kinmont Buckbarrow, just head off towards Great Paddy Crag over there, and you'll soon pick up this path which leads to a gap in the wall. Fairly easy descent. And heading over in this direction should take us sort of, no, we turn right here instead, and that will take us back down. No, we won't turn right because there's a fence there. So heading over in this direction should hopefully take us to a gap in the fence. And across another wall here, Wainwright in his book says there's a more direct way sort of down the fell from Kinmont Buckbarrow, but it's all fenced off. There's a fence all the way along here. Seems to be a path, but the fence blocks the path, so I suggest this is the way to come back. And this is indeed the way we came up. This is the little rise I filmed on the way up, where we got the first glimpse of Buckbarrow. Not long now and the walk's complete. Just make up the finish point down there. I think that's the calf on the right down the bottom, just about to see it. And, that big one over the black you think is white coombe or black coombe. No, it looks quite big. I think it's black coombe. Almost completed, and the wind's finally died down.
You're travelling in the wrong direction.
Something that might be of interest if any of you use Komoot is that if you don't follow the actual points of a route, i.e. where it thinks you should be going, all of a sudden it turns around and says you're travelling in the wrong direction, which you're definitely not. So if that ever happens, don't be tempted to actually go back, because it's just Komoot playing around. It thinks you've missed a point out, so it's trying to actually send you back to pick that point up. But of course there's plenty of times where you wouldn't necessarily want to go to the specific point that was plotted, because the ground might look a lot better in another direction. That's all this modern stuff for you. When I did the Wainwrights from 1973 up to 1984, there was none of this GPS stuff, just a map and a compass. And I think in all 214 summits I got lost once on Kirk Fell, and that was because the mist came down and I rather stupidly headed off in the direction I'd already came. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that and can highly recommend that as a walk for the old timers, which is of course exactly what Wainwright dedicated the old Outlying Fells to. It's just over 5 miles. It doesn't seem that long, and all the inclines are quite gentle, and you won't see a soul up here. If you like it quiet, this is the place to come. Big bonus of a walk like that is of course you do 4 outlying fells in one walk, which is much better than the ones I've done so far, which have just been individual fells. And I can tell you, out of Flat Fell, Coal Fell and Ponsonby Fell, this walk knocks the socks off of them. So that's another 4 ticked off, so 76 to go now, but at least it's encouraging when you can do sort of 4 in one go and relatively easily. I found this, despite the fact that Flat Fell and Coal Fell are relatively small heights, they were my first for a long time, and I found this one much easier. Hopefully that's inspired you, and maybe I'll see you in the next video if I make it that far.